Hi Helmut, thanks for coming this afternoon and chatting to us about your leading edge event detection solution, Comporto, and I hear that it's making a really big impact in the communities that you serve. Can you tell us a little bit about those benefits?
Sure. So just to clarify what our service does, it actually enables the preemptive identification of extreme harm events or risk of harm, which means that doctors are able to turn up and have presented to them the information or evidence that enables them to actually know that harm is imminent without them doing any homework or looking through lots of further information or evidence. It's actually, the evidence is accumulated for them before the patient turns up. It's put in front of them so the doctor is able to make the in situ clinical decision making and mitigate the harm. So we ran a trial of the service during March across 92 practices and found 200 extreme harm events in that population in that month.
Right.
So that's about 10% of GP practices. So, extrapolating for that's somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000, because in the following month, post-trial, we ran it as well, and it was 300 events. So somewhere between 200 and 300 across our 92 practices were actually these harm events. 100% of the time, the doctors actually opened, reviewed the evidence, and made a decision on site. The evidence for the harms that were mitigated were compelling. Hospitalizations were prevented, and people's lives were changed simply because our GPs had in front of them in a timely fashion these alerts to notify them about these extreme harm events. So we're very excited about it, both in terms of its impact on people's lives, because remember, every single one of these is almost certainly to be hospitalised or worse,
right,
as well as the impact on just the health system from every angle, workload, cost. So we're very excited by that.
That's great. So I hear that I hear from you that it's fitting into the workflow of the GP. They're able to view this information as part of the normal information gathering process. And when they see these patients, they're able to actually introduce that into the conversation and assess what it is that's required to prevent that hospitalisation.
Exactly.
That's amazing. So can you tell us a little bit more about what level of intervention is then required that mitigates this hospitalisation?
Yeah, sure. So typically the harm events are medication related.
Right.
So the mitigation decision by the clinician will be either to stop that medication harm, or if in the judgment of the GP in this instance that there are other benefits that outweigh the risk, then on occasion they do that too. That's their prerogative to do that. So typically it's about making decisions that mitigate the treatment/medication related harm,
right,
and there's a spectrum of what the doctors do there.
Right. So there's obviously significant potential here in event detection, because we can see and understand that in a community with care needing to be provided closer to home, you can also see that potential for triggering onward referrals for additional community services.
Yeah, look, you're onto it. So one of the examples that's come very quickly on the heels of this harm detection, the extreme harm detection, is in conversations with some DHBs,
yep,
the clinicians we were engaged in there asked us, so we've got some high value clinical pathways that we have patients going down in terms of the two that they cited was vascular and cancer. And often as patients diverge from off those clinical pathways, there can be serious repercussions, costs and so on. But often we actually don't have any reliable or systematic way to detect those divergent until it's late and so on. And so what we've developed in the process of developing for them is a notification version of our EDM service, which is targeting patient adherence to those two high value clinical pathways. And so logically we can do that for a range of either pathways or other things that you just want to monitor and see. And that's just one stream of use cases for the infrastructure that we're deploying here. To be honest, there's dozens of conversations going concurrently, but we're focused very clearly early on this harm detection one because it's, frankly, it's the most valuable thing we could do.
Great. So you've mentioned that you've obviously got some plans in place around your product development.
Yes.
Have you got any other key areas that you're looking to prioritise?
Yes, okay. Well, great question, actually. So, from a technical point of view, the thing that we're focusing on next is around, so currently, because our platform enables us to query data that's anywhere,
Yeah.
It's vitally important that that is transparent and visible, and so we have quite sophisticated audit logging and monitoring about who's looking at what, and that's transparent to everybody that's in the network. So from a technical point of view, the next thing we're doing is we're migrating that current solution to a blockchain piece of infrastructure, because for those who know, blockchain is actually an immutable way of recording something, so it can never be altered. And so we like that as an initial use case. So we're going to migrate our current audit log capability onto a blockchain, so that anyway, that's a technical thing. Maybe non-technical people won't be that buzzed by it, but that's an interesting development. From a roadmap, in terms of the use cases or the use of the platform, probably other than that pathway adherence type use cases, frankly, I would say the two highest value ones that we're closest to delivering something on would be medicines management. So we actually have the ability to present to any clinician or any person, actually to a patient themselves, anywhere, anytime, a fully reconciled list of all prescribed medications from any location, all dispensed from any location, which is pretty valuable, right? So that's something we're serving up shortly. The capability actually for a clinician to have real-time, anywhere access to a summary patient record is something we can serve up right now. And so we're in discussion with both primary and secondary care people. It's effectively the same business use case as the national EHR. It's effectively the same story. And the Health One story, it's a very similar story, right? So regardless of clinical setting, can I get access to see what I need to? The answer is yes, and our platform is one way of doing that. I guess just quickly, one other one that's just jumped in that was that's got a lot of attention from funders. So ACC is a significant funder of the sector, and there was an enormous amount of infrastructure and process currently in place for claiming, lodging claims, managing claims, and DHBs have a great interest in it too, because there's an overlap about who should be paying for that.
Yep.
Is that us? Is that them? So
Absolutely.
there's a big, and so we're currently heavily engaged with conversations with DHBs and ACC around our platform being used to enable that whole business process around ACC claim management to actually be quite radically transformed. So we're very juiced up about how that might play out.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you, because that sounds incredibly exciting, and thank you for talking to us about it.
Right.
Cheers. Thank you.